from most people, whether it's a child or an adult, is when you listen to someone, almost immediately you kind of see a difference in their attitude. When they see you care, they almost immediately change and relax and let their guard down a little bit, and they start to say, you know, maybe I can do something different, or maybe there is another way. So it's different for different people, but almost immediately when you show some positive energy to a person and you show that you care and you listen to a person, you can see it change almost instantly.
All right, guys, and we are back with another episode of the Future Starts Here podcast with Say Yes Buffalo. And today I am excited because we get to sit down and talk to one of our community partners, MVP. So how are you guys doing today?
Fabulous. Just fabulous. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, and I'm excited.
Tell us who you are.
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me as well. Tell us who you are, Mom.
My name's Mia Ayers-Goss, and I'm the Executive Director of MVP, which stands for Most Valuable Parents of Buffalo, New York, which Neil Dobbins founded in 2018.
I'm Rafeal, at Rafeal Podcasts, and I'm Mia's son. The Director of Most Valuable Parents is my parent, one of my parents. So that's part of why I'm here.
Okay, so tell us about MVP, or the Most Valuable Parents. Tell us about some of the work that you guys are doing in the community, or about your mission.
Okay. Well, initially, Neil had a vision to gather 1,000 parents. He said he just wanted to get 1,000 parents together and just help them become more accountable. You know, he said that it starts with us. It was the violence in the neighborhoods that started it. He was watching a television show. Well, he's watching the news and the program about the grandmother and grandchild on Grape Street that had been murdered by a drive-by at a family function. It really got to him. And he was with his wife. He looked at his wife. He said, I'm going to put a Facebook post out, and I'm just going to see if we can just do this together, you know? He put it out, and he was surprised to see it was standing room only when he had the meeting. And so that's how it started. He just started having community engagement meetings every week. So he would invite people like the district attorney, the mayor, the school board, and just ask them questions, let the community ask them questions, and just try to come up with ideas on how we could get to this violence. And one thing Neil really wanted to do was to work against legislation, too, gun legislation. He wanted to work with to stop the illegal gun trafficking, the supplier side of things. Because a lot of times when people think about violence, they say, oh, we got to just lock them all up. And, you know, but he wanted to come from another point of view as far as let's deal with getting the guns out of our community, for one. And then let's deal with the parents so that we can help the whole household. So some of the work that we do now is we work with Buffalo Public Schools. We are working with the families of students that have been suspended chronically or that have any type of issues, really. But the school will assign us a certain amount of families, and then we reach out to that family, and we're there for that family to help them come up with an action plan, to find resources, whatever their issues are. We try to go out in the community and find whatever resources they need, call them just to check on them, just to be a friend, be a support, be a peer. And we are working with Community Health Worker Network, Jessica Bauer Walker's organization, Connect. We work with Erie County Restorative Justice Coalition a lot. So we're just here to support the community, but mainly the parents and the family unit.
That's really some great work that you guys are doing. I was really happy to hear you guys say the piece about getting involved in Buffalo Public Schools. I think that you guys are filling in that missing puzzle piece that maybe some of the schools admin or higher ups don't really have an understanding of. I'm not sure if you're familiar. I can't remember who the author is, but the poem that I Don't Have a Pencil. Have you heard that poem?
No, I don't think so.
I can't really remember it word for word, but it just talks about the backstory about not having a pencil, or like about a child coming late to school. It's like the teachers see that the child is late to school, but why are they late to school?
Oh, girl, yes.
You don't understand it. So it's like definitely that missing piece of, when students are suspended chronically, what are they doing when they're suspended? You guys are sending them back home to what? You have to understand that. So I think that's definitely important. It just goes into, I guess, for me, I'm not a parent, but for someone like myself or people that are in my age range, what can we do to also help with you guys' mission?
Well, one thing that you guys can do, we need more volunteers. We need more support. So whether you're a parent or not, you know what it's like. This is something my daughter always tells me. I have a daughter that's a parent, and then I have a daughter that's not a parent. But my daughter that's not a parent always says, I don't have any children, but I know what it's like to be parented, and I know what it's like to be a child. So I know, I can help from that perspective. But just being boots on the ground, we need more volunteers, absolutely. For example, we're having a Neil Dobbins Inter-City Basketball League that we're getting ready to start. And we need coaches for the league. So some people in your age range might want to come and coach the young people. We're going to need facilitators, and the reason we need facilitators, because not only are we going to host basketball games, but the participants have to go to a life skills workshop, and they have to go to a restorative circle before they are eligible to play in the game. So, people your age can help as far as that goes. We have a parent-to-parent class that we have in Buffalo Public Schools. Having your voice at the table is very important. We invite the parents to come. We serve them dinner. We use 7 Habits of Highly Effective People to foster the dialogue. We use the 40 developmental assets when parents ask for help to foster the dialogue. But we have really serious conversations about raising adolescents. And we hear from the adolescents sometimes. We have like 16, 17, 18-year-olds. And then sometimes we have 60, 70-year-old grandparents that are raising youth. So just having you guys at the table, being a support system helps. A lot of times people think, like you said, I'm not a parent, I can't help. Or sometimes people don't think they have enough time. Yeah. You can volunteer. If I had 50 people volunteer for 2 hours a month, 2 hours a month, that doesn't seem like a lot of time, right?
No, it doesn't.
But when you add it all together, it is a lot of time, and it can do so many wonderful things. You can change the course and the direction of someone's life through one conversation. It would be you just would be amazed at how much you could do for a young person just sitting there, having a conversation with them. My son and another MVP member went with me to take 2 young men out to go bowling. And they were 16, I believe. They had stole a car, got in trouble, and through Erie County Restorative Justice Coalition, they went through a program where if they follow all the things that the program says, then they can stay out of jail. So we was a part of the circle. And then we stayed with them afterwards to provide support. So long story short, one young man said he had never been bowling. And he's 16 years old, and he had just never had that type of event. And the other young man said he hadn't been bowling since he was 8. So the week before or 2 weeks before that, we took him out to lunch. And the one young man said, I haven't been out to eat in years. So just experiences like that, it helps them, it helps their self-esteem. So those are things that you got. Big brother, big sister, you don't have to specifically be a part of a big brother, big sister program to provide that type of support. So those are some things that your age, anyone, doesn't matter what age you are, you can definitely be support.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the two young men that you took out to eat and took to bowling. Talk about the transition period for them. Like, what does that look like, especially just being from one environment and then going into another one? What does that look like for them?
It looks different for different people. It can take a long time for someone to change the way they think, the way they feel, to come out of their shell, or to just believe in themselves. We've been working with these young men for a few months. You can tell that they weren't like bad kids. Mm-hmm. They stole the car because it was convenient. It wasn't like they woke up that morning and said, I'm going to go out and steal a car. It was just they were walking down the street. The car happened to be there. They were cold, wanted to get from one place to another. But then we have other situations where we're dealing with youth that have been hurt, harmed. So their anger, their hurt is a lot deeper. So it might take that person a little bit longer to get their, I would say, life, quote unquote, back on path, as opposed to these young men that we are working with. So the transition part, to answer your story, I mean, you answer your question, it takes time, different amounts of time. However, what I see right away from most people, whether it's a child or an adult, is when you listen to someone, almost immediately you kind of see a difference in their attitude. When they see you care, they almost immediately change and relax and let their guard down a little bit, and they start to say, maybe I can do something different, or maybe there is another way. So it's different for different people, but almost immediately when you show some positive energy to a person and you show that you care and you listen to a person, you can see it change almost instantly.
Yeah, that's great work that you guys are doing. It's kind of along the lines of mentorship. I would say a lot. And I have a mentor, and I am a mentor, so I know it means the world to those young people that you guys are touching.
Thank you.
So we're gonna segue into a different part. You guys focus a lot on autism awareness.
Well, not a lot. We're getting into it.
Okay.
This is new for us.
Okay, so this is new for you guys.
Yes.
So talk about that approach.
Okay, so we are a part of what's called the Parent Congress in Buffalo Public Schools. And there are multiple groups in the Parent Congress. One of the groups is CPAC, and one of the members to CPAC his name is Ed Spidell, and he's a huge advocate for children in general, but especially children with autism or special needs. So I had worked with him on a workshop for autism awareness. It wasn't, I don't want to say it was intentional, but it was intentional, but it just kind of happened. He just said, I need some help. So I was like, okay, I'll help you. Not really giving a whole lot of thought to it, just somebody asked for help. But then after that, my son had come across some people who had
I have two friends,
children,
that both of them individually have autistic sons, 4-year-olds. So they mentioned to me, and I seen one post on Facebook how difficult her life was becoming, or has been, really trying to take care of an autistic child on her own, and just kind of calling for help and expressing that she needed support. So then I reached out to my mother and brought these two young ladies to her attention, and she mentioned Ed and connected us with Ed.
And we have, I have two cousins that have autistic children as well. So it just made me think, we need to do more because we are dealing with all parents. So it doesn't matter what the situation is, it's our duty to try to find some type of solution. So I saw that it was a need. So we just want to try to help. I mean, obviously we can't do everything to everyone, but if we can try to bring some more awareness to this and allow more people to understand there are some resources out there. And I feel so bad when I see that there's a lot of resources over here and there's a lot of need here, but they're not meeting.
They're not.
Yeah, so we just need to bring more awareness so that they can meet, because there is help. And these young women need that help. So that's why we want to start bringing a little bit more awareness.
And really, that's been my role more recently with MVP, is realizing that my mother and MVP has all of these resources for parents. I kind of just use my platform as a podcaster and my skill set to amplify and be that voice and create the awareness for the people that need these resources. To be able to connect with MVP.
So while we're on the topic of just different resources, like you said, there's resources over here, and there's resources over here, but like it's a disconnect.
Yes.
So in a recent news report I read, it stated that Black and Hispanic children are being diagnosed more than white children. Why do you guys think that is?
Well, I don't know specifically why, but I mean, whenever you're in a situation where you have less money, less resources, you know, you are targeted for certain things, and sometimes it's because people don't want to deal with it. They don't want to get to the root cause, so they, you know, their child is hyper, so automatically you have ADHD or whatever. But then there are situations where the child really does have different diagnoses or illnesses because of, you know, maybe not eating properly. Maybe the mother didn't have proper care while she was pregnant. You know, usually when you are in a situation of poverty, you're more susceptible to have more illnesses because you don't have, you know, the right diet, the right environment, the right support. All those things play a part, I believe personally. How do you believe?
No, I agree. I think that, and I'm not too knowledgeable on autism and what causes it, or even, I don't know if it's supposed to be a natural thing or what, but immediately when you asked the question, my thought went to the diet and access to what the access to food, healthy food, and what these kids are consuming, or what the parents were consuming all through the pregnancy. So for me, I always go to diet. What are you eating?
Okay. And as far as diet goes, I also, when it comes to that, I will also think about, so what does the family look like? What does the income look like? Because that all plays a part in the dieting as well. So it's just like, what can they provide for themselves and for their children? Because healthy food is expensive. It's extremely expensive. I found myself trying to diet or find ways to eat healthier, and it's been eating my pockets up.
But then that comes with education as well, because even though I was raised in a very nutritious environment, my parents were vegetarian, I did have that mindset at one time as well. I used to think that it's very expensive to eat right. However, you can eat right on a budget. You might not be able to buy the fancy things. If you go to the health food store and you want to get all the meat substitutes and things like that, then yes, it can be very expensive. And if you buy healthy toothpaste and things like that, it seems to be a little bit more expensive than the other thing. But my father used to say, you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later. That's what he used to tell me. So, you know, you got to either weigh it out. And then you think if you were to eat all vegetables and grains and beans, that wouldn't be expensive. But it's expensive when we get into a lot of the substitutes and things like that. So it's a way to do it, but you just got to learn. If you have the right person to show you how to shop, things like that. And that brings me to a program that we are developing. It's called 10 Steps to Independence. And the first step is loving yourself, knowing yourself, because I feel that a lot of times we're taught in our environment and in our area, community, you don't look right, you don't talk right, you don't walk right, you don't think right. So if you don't do anything right, how are you going to feel good about yourself? You know? So a lot of times our youth, they don't have a lot of self-confidence. They don't have a lot of self-esteem or self-love. So that was the first step that I wanted to tackle when helping our youth, is you got to love yourself. You know, you got to know who you are, and you have to value who you are and love yourself. Some of the other steps would be health and wellness, learning basic health and wellness skills, learning basic cleaning and cooking skills, learning basic communication skills. If you don't know how to communicate, you don't know how to listen to someone, listen to understand, not to be understood, things like that. You have to have good communication with your husband, with your wife, with your sister, with your brother, with your teacher, with your employer. Communication is key in life. But a lot of times we don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to listen. We don't know how to do that. So another step would be learning how to fill out an application for a car, for a house, learning how to, interview for a job. So the basic 10 steps, once you've completed them, you will be more prepared and have a stronger foundation to go to college or go get a job or, just to go out into the world. One of the steps is gaining financial health, learning financial literacy, knowing the difference between good credit, bad credit, interest rates, all that kind of stuff, how to budget, how to have a bank account, what you should and shouldn't do. We're not learning our children are not learning these things in school. And a lot of times parents don't either have the time or they don't have the knowledge to teach their children these things. So if we have a program where we can offer that, I think that it would help out a lot with the violence, because if I have tools to make myself better and I love myself and I respect myself, I'm going to be a lot less likely to pick up a gun and shoot somebody because I have a purpose in life. But if I don't really think I'm going to be able to have that car I want or have that house I want, if I don't really have any respect for myself, then I'm going to be more likely to want to pick up that knife or that gun or get into a gang. So this is our way of fighting violence, is by helping to build better foundations for the youth and working with the parents to help them have more tools so that they can work with their students. Basically just helping that family unit, because if you have that, within your home, then you don't take all that negativity out into the world,
Now, would that program be just for the youth or for parents?
Well, right now, the 10 Steps to Independence is targeting 13 to 25-year-olds. That's what we're
meeting the mark.
That's what we're targeting for that program. And we're, our goal is to start with Buffalo Public Schools, and then for it to be for people getting out of rehab, court-mandated programs, things like that. That's in the future. But right now, we're looking to work in Buffalo Public Schools with the 10 Steps to Independence program. So those are the kind of things we're doing. Another initiative that we're working on is called Bridging the Gap. We just had a meeting last month, and we're going to have another meeting at the end of September. But basically, we reached out to different community leaders, different religious leaders, a few people in law enforcement, education, the medical field, just different folks that have influence in community, and try to pull them together and say, we need to pull our resources together, we need to talk together, we need to communicate, we need to come up with a strategy on how we can work together more cohesively and with more synergy, because we're working a lot in silos right now. A lot of times people are, you got this person over there doing something, this person over there doing something. Well, if we come together, we might have a little bit more of an effect and be able to reach more people. So we want to regularly meet with these leaders so that they can take the information back out to their communities, and hopefully we can do more together.
Okay, I think those are two great and amazing initiatives, especially the first one that you mentioned. Like I said, I just meet the mark. I turned 25 in January, so we got to talk.
That's right, because I could use your help.
I'm actually learning those fundamentals right now, because I didn't learn them as a teenager. So learning self-love, financial literacy part,
absolutely,
cooking, things of that nature. Now I live on my own, and things like that, stuff that I wish I would have learned as a teenager that I wouldn't be dealing with now. But I'm happy that I'm getting it right now at this point, so that 10 years from now I won't have to look back and be regretting on what I didn't do at this moment.
Absolutely.
And then as far as bridging the gap, it is important. We are working in a lot of silos, and I just see it a lot, even just online. When you see all these events is happening, it's the same event that's happening, just in different ways, ran by different people. So if everybody could just come together and have one big event,
it would be much more effective.
It would be way much more effective.
It'll be so much more effective. I would like for us to have a community calendar, because people, they're not thinking. They're doing things on the same day. So you're pulling from the same group of people. So you have people going over there, and they want to make all these different events, where if maybe we had a community website or a community calendar, and we could get some of these things. I mean, you're not going to get everything. But if we could get some of the main events done, it would just be very helpful. So hopefully we'll see what happens. But going back to the 10-step program, I'm twice your age, and I'm still learning things in my life. So I know how important it is. And there's a lot of things that I know that I didn't give to my children that I wish that I had given to my children. So that's why I think MVP is so important, because we are parents. We know what you're going through, because we either are going through it ourselves or have been there. So that's why we relate so well with the parents, because we are. It's a difference in me going to a parent of a Buffalo Public Schools student and talking to that parent, and then going to the school and talking to the counselor, the attendance person or whatever, because I can see it from both sides. Yeah. And I can let that teacher know, did you know that this person's brother passed away? Or did you know that I had an instance with a young man, like you were explaining the program, the situation a few minutes ago about not knowing the reason why. He was late for school consistently. He got suspended. The reason he was late was because his sister had a baby, and he was taking, a toddler, and he was taking the toddler to daycare every day before he went to school, and that was making him late. So if he would have communicated that, or if they would have asked or whatever, maybe someone could have helped with someone else to do that, or found some other daycare or something. But because that communication wasn't there, the teacher and the principal, they didn't know. They're just thinking but see, that's where we have to do more digging. Like you said, we have to get to these root causes, because if we just keep suspending them, every time they're suspended, they're losing education. They're losing that time that they don't usually get back.
Exactly.
Yeah, so hopefully, we can just continue this program and grow and grow and grow, because having us there, we can try to bridge that gap and try to bring them together, and we can let the parent, try to work with the parent a little bit more and let them know, hey, we need you to be a little more involved. We need you to come to the parent-teacher meetings. We need you to understand that Johnny hasn't done his homework in 3 days, and he's behind. We need your help with that. And Johnny's been coming to school cussing the teacher out, I can talk to you about that. And then we need to go to the school and let the teacher know, they have a rodent issue right now, and they don't have any place to stay, or, the father just died. I mean, we can let each other know what's going on in a way that it typically hasn't been happening. So I'm proud of the program. It's a difficult thing to do, but I'm really proud of that program, and I hope that we can continue it.
Yeah,
I have a question for you.
Oh, you have a question for me?
Here's a quick one. You mentioned where you are currently on your journey, and my mother mentioned that with MVP, we use 7 Habits of Highly Effective People as a foundation for kind of changing people's lives. But for where you are on your journey currently, I'm really into books. Personally, I always ask people what they're reading. Is there a book that you can share, or a book title, an author that you could share with us that was really influential or formative for you on your journey to get you where you currently are through your process of self-awareness and self-healing and self-love?
For me, I can't say during my journey was really a book besides the Bible. I will say that.
Well, that's a book.
Yeah.
That's absolutely.
So my spiritual journey has definitely been big in this just process, this transition, just being so young and being in a powerful position. It's tough. You can't hang out with the same friends that you hung out with before. The people I grew up with, I can't be in the same spaces. And I don't want to ever say that I'm better than them. I'm just grateful for where I'm at. And I know I have to be mindful of that and protect that. And then I have influential people in my life that I was able to gain knowledge from and to work under, like people like Jamil Cruz. He's one of my great mentors.
Shout out Jamil Cruz.
Yeah, shout out Jamil Cruz. Daphne Ross, she's our Chief Impact Officer. Daisha McClam, she's my actual mentor that I had since I was 13. I was in the Upper Bound program. So many people. I can't not name everybody. Right. Everybody knows that I love them though. And it's been a journey. It really has. But making sure you have people and programs put in place. Upper Bound helped me.
Gotcha.
Before Upper Bound, I never went outside of Buffalo. Never. I never even knew that I really wanted to go to college until I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm out here in Atlanta on a HBCU tour. I didn't know these existed until you're out of your environment that you stay in every day. I grew up on Rounds Avenue. All I knew was Rounds, Bailey, Eggert, LaSalle store, the Kensington store. That's all I knew. Walking up and down the streets, going to the Kensington pool in the summer. That's all I knew. But it's like now I live out in Kenmore. Now I lived in Sweet Home before. So it's like I didn't even know these things existed until I put myself in different spaces where I was able to elevate. And then putting myself in those spaces allowed me to meet people that helped me elevate even more. And now it's a full circle. So now I'm giving back.
And look how young you are, and you have so much already to give back. So that's a wonderful thing, and I'm glad that you are giving back. And feel free to come on over to MVP anytime, because we have lots of things for you to get.
Of course.
Can I want to wrap my question real quick.
Okay, now I'm gonna wrap my questions up. Go ahead.
Because you said the Bible.
Yes.
Can you give me a favorite scripture?
Ooh, that is tough. Let me think.
Well, I can think of one just based on what you said about your friends. I don't know the whole scripture, but I know it has something to do with seasons and how God brings people in your life for seasons. And there's no reason for you, not to say that you do feel bad, but there's no reason for you to feel any type of way that you're in a new, some people are only there for a certain time, certain period, and they've served their purpose, and now it's time for you to be with others.
Yeah, I thought that was beautiful that you said you literally made it a point to say that you don't feel bad or regret. You said you just are appreciative of where you are now.
I am.
And that's beautiful.
I am. My favorite scripture, I have to say, I think about it, is Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not onto your own understanding, and God will direct your paths. So that's what I have to do. That's a good one. Yeah. I had to trust.
You got to.
And it's hard. But, I wouldn't be here without, really just getting that relationship with God and getting closer to Him. So I'm definitely grateful for that. And that's the number one.
That scripture right there alone really sounds pretty much a lot about submission. So just submitting to the will of God.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of kids, that's where they struggle, or they tend to do things that we could say they're going wrong, is because they don't feel that they have a sense of purpose. And then when it takes some time to discover a sense of purpose in just worshiping God, worshiping Allah. So
exactly. I don't want this to turn into a service. So, but yes, definitely. What just going to what you said, especially as a young person. Just submit it to God. You learn that like the purpose that you think you have for yourself may not be the one that God has planned for you. So you really do have to submit and adhere to what He's saying, so that you can figure out what your purpose is and go the way that God wants you to go, and not the way that you think you should go.
Yeah, it's a bigger purpose to serve.
It is. It is. So I'm gonna end with twofold questions. So because you guys are called most valuable parents. So nowadays we hear this confrontational argument about what makes a parent good, what makes a parent bad. So my twofold question for you guys is, what makes a parent a great parent? And then what resources do you guys have to offer to help a parent become the best parent they can be?
Okay.
That's a great question.
Well, the resources, I would say, first of all, if you just come to MVP or call MVP, you can go to our website at www.joinmvp.org. You can call us at 585-JOIN-MVP. And then we will go out, and if we don't already have within our wheelhouse the resources you need, then we will research and find. So it's not always a resource that we know about. we sometimes have to go and research and find it. So whatever the case may be, we might already have a list or we have a relationship with a lot of different organizations, but there might be somebody that's out there that we have to actually go and research. The point is that we're going to do what we need to do to help, to find out some type of solution to the problem or situation. To me, a great parent is a parent that is willing to love their child, to listen to their child, and to try their best to help their child go out and be sustainable on their own, like to give them all the necessary tools that they need so that they are able to make it without their parent. Am I a great parent? I don't know. I would never judge another person, but that's what I think mentally, physically. If I were to be able to design a perfect parent, I would say the person that would show their child love, that would listen to their child, and that would try to instill into their child as much as they can so their child is able to stand on their own. And be positive, too. Be positive.
That's a great answer. And I want to, before I answer your question, I just want to give my children a shout out real quick. I really want to give my son, my youngest son, Ransom, a shout out today. Today's his first birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Ransom.
Happy birthday, Randy Pooh.
Ransom Suarez. But what makes a great parent? I think that a measure which is kind of tough to measure, but I think your children would be able to measure it in some way internally, is how well you were able to serve your children and your legacy, and how well you're able to teach them to be of service as well. If you're not able to serve your children or be of service in them and appreciate them and uplift them and support them, then I guess contrary to what I'm saying, that will kind of make you a bad parent. So I think that's a way that I would use to gauge is how well, from your children's perspective, not your own perspective, not society's perspective, but from your children's perspective, how well were you able to serve them while you were in their lives and while you had the opportunity to do so.
What do you think makes a good parent?
Well, again, I'm not a parent, but I agree with what both of you guys said. But for me, just a parent that is really willing to listen. A lot of times, for me growing up, I was told, kids should be seen and not heard. So
I was told that too.
If there's a situation where I want to talk and I want to say something, they don't want to hear it. Even if it's with school, it's like, you want to Mom, no, the teacher did this. No, I don't care. I got to call home while I was at work. That's all I care about. Mm-hmm. So I was blessed with two parents in my household. But growing up, it's always that, they have the stereotype of the black mothers, where you hear certain things and certain quotes or, I really can't, I'm not going to get into all of them, but, really just being able to stand on my own feet and, knowing that they instill some things and instill strength definitely, in me to just keep going and, then finding my voice and using my voice has been something that I learned from my parents. And also just being your child's biggest your biggest supporter and number one fan, and my parents are.
Yeah.
What's something that you're looking forward to doing differently from how they parented you, based on?
Oh my goodness, Rafeal, you trying to take over, but it's okay. I would say something that I'm trying to do differently is definitely sitting together at the table for dinner. That is one of
that would
my
be a big
biggest
one for,
things.
my children,
I
too.
want to
We
cook
didn't do
Sunday
that.
dinners and sit at the table with my family and take family trips. Again, like my parents aren't travelers.
That would be the same thing for my children because we
So
didn't
traveling.
sit at the table a lot either.
No, we all sat in front of our own individual televisions.
Yeah, no. I want to sit at a table. I want to say
Yeah.
grace, and I want to eat over the food and have conversations.
Yeah.
When I work with the girls that I mentor, or even if I just work with some young ladies that I don't mentor, and I see them on their phone, I take it like, go introduce yourself. What do you want to be? What are your what do you enjoy doing?
Yeah.
Like, get off your phone, get off of TikTok, like have a conversation. Or if I take them out to dinner, give me your phone. We turning it off because typically like we're just so wrapped up in our own lives for majority of the days, or we sit down during that dinner time is like where you have your family time. And oftentimes I didn't get that. I would just go sit in front of a TV and everybody would go their own ways.
Yeah, that's how our house was.
Then it comes to a point where it's like, I didn't know you were doing this. Like, I've been saying this for weeks, Mom. But yeah, so I definitely think that's what I'm gonna do differently. Sit at a table and travel more.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yes. So it has been great talking to you guys, but I know this is all that we have time for. But
right,
it
thank
has
you.
truly been amazing talking to you, Mia. I don't want
Thank
to
you.
call you Mia, but you my friend's mom, so
You can
Miss
call me Mia. No,
you know,
Mia is fine.
They call her Mama Mia in the streets.
Yeah, most people call me Mama Mia.
Mama Mia.
So that's fine. But
Yes.
no, I really appreciate you guys having us. And hopefully we can come back with the autism awareness.
Yes. Yes, thank you. It was great talking to you too as well.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
me. Thank you,
Yes,
thank
and
you
I would
for having
definitely
us.
be interested in facilitating with
Okay.
this, so we can talk
Awesome.
afterwards.
I will.
And
All right,
if
yes.
anybody else is interested in facilitating or being a coach, please reach out to Mama Mia. You can say your information again for me so that they
Okay.
can hear it one more time.
It is joinmvp.org, or you can call us at 585-JOIN-MVP.
All right, and then make sure you follow Say As Buffalo on Facebook and Instagram at just Say As Buffalo, or visit our website at sayasbuffalo.org. And until next time.
Bye.